Hey everybody, this is Phoenix Down, and welcome to a very special episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. In the last episode, we finished playing the game, which brings up the question of why am I continuing to Let's Play it? It's because technically I'm not. This is more of a, I guess you could call it a Let's Reminisce about Let's Playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. The remembering, a retrospective, if you will. I figured, I mentioned in the last episode that I wanted to do something like this, just kind of talk about my experiences with my very first Let's Play. This has all been a new experience for me. I had to make mistakes, I had to learn from them. I tried out some ideas, I did some creative intros for a couple episodes, that sort of thing, and I just thought I'd take this time to talk about that and the game itself, the characters, the villains, the music. You gotta talk about the music. That's this game's best quality, of course. And just a lot of things. And I also wanted to touch a little bit on what I've been doing since in the time between recording this and the last episode. So, how have you guys been? It's been a while, a couple weeks since I've done a video upload of commentary. I've been posting Battletoads practice run stuff, but since it's not my official LP, I didn't want to, waste my commentary on that, even though some of the videos were good enough for that sort of thing. But how have you guys been? Oh, hey, I'm glad to hear it. Keep it up. And sorry that things aren't going so well for you. Hang in there. So anyway, yeah, and I was watching my first episode just a couple days ago before recording this, and wow, I sounded terrible. I mean, I probably still do by some people's standards, but I'm trying to improve. I mumble a lot. I've noticed that. You start getting into the grind of things, your mind starts focusing on just the basic commands. It starts to dull your mind, I guess, something like that. So, it's one issue I've been trying to work on, and I still do it a little bit in my next series that I've already started. I haven't uploaded yet, but I've got quite a few videos of it stocked up. But yeah, that's one thing I really want to work on, is kind of trying to keep a forceful, more upbeat audio quality for my commentary, and also just to be more interesting when I'm talking. Repeating things like nuts, and it's like that could have gone better. I say that quite a few times. It's almost my catchphrase at this point, and I gotta work on that because that's not the sort of thing you want other people to recognize you for. But yeah, I've been doing this on pretty much a low budget. I'm only recording through emulators at present. I'm not really a fan of emulators or using ROMs. I prefer to own the physical product. I will not LP a game with this method that I do not already own in one form or another, whether it's a Wii download or the physical cartridge or what have you. I just won't do that. It doesn't feel right to me. You know, this is about the biggest stretch I could do because I don't believe my laptop here has the right specs for using something like a Dazzle. I mean, if I did that, the floodgates would open at that point because I have so many games that I want to LP at some point or another, or at least just record a playthrough, even if I don't commentate through it. I mean, I don't want to list all of them. Battletoads is the big one. That's the one that's made me want to LP in the first place, watching that four-player race with Proton John and Pickle and Super Genius and Nintendo Capri Sun. That four-player race that took them like over 3 hours to finish with infinite lives and whatnot. that's pretty much what made me want to do LPing. I've been watching Let's Plays for a while, the Runaway Guys and Chugga Conroy and a lot of other people just randomly finding videos. But I mean that was what made me think I should do this. It's like I could, I want to play. It got me to dig out my old NES from under my bed. It's been just sitting there collecting dust in a little plastic tote for I don't know how long. I dug that out and I spent like I think it took me about 3 sessions to actually after watching them play the game and kind of memorizing the layout in advance. I was actually able to beat the game for the first time thanks to that. I'd never been able to beat Battletoads before until then. And so it took me 3 tries to do that. The second try was just to beat Klinger Winger, but then I ran out of lives in the last level. But then I played it again later that day, and I beat the game for the first time, and I've been doing it since. Now I can beat the game without warps or continues when I played on the NES. I don't want to spoil anything because I haven't finished uploading all the Battletoads videos at this point, but by the time I actually upload this audio, it's probably going to be all done. But I cannot beat Klinger Winger with my current setup. I have a USB controller shaped like an NES pad, but it's not quite the same. The D-pad is on like a little disc kind of thing. It kind of slides out of position sometimes. That's completely unreliable. And I don't have the right finger coordination for using a keypad for the directional changes. And just the ROM itself for Battletoads is just really bad. But, why am I still talking about Battletoads? This is about Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It's about my experience of the LP I've already done. I've totally gone off track there. Sorry about that for those of you not interested in Battletoads. But yeah, that's just in that first episode, that was like I left the game audio up at its maximum level in Windows Media uh, or Movie Maker. Sorry, Media Player is what I watch it in when I finish converting the file. But I mean, yeah, I've learned so much just from that first video. It's like you gotta turn down the game audio at least a little bit in order to hear yourself talk. And you gotta adjust the mic audio in Audacity, otherwise you're gonna get those really a lot more feedback than what I have been doing lately. I still need to, get a different mic. I mean, they don't cost that much. I just have to like remember to pick one up. Because when I go shopping, I'm not necessarily thinking about LPs and whatnot. During those times, it's usually just for groceries or whatnot. But yeah, that's the big thing right now. It's still a little frustrating. It's just this headset thing, this Logitech thing I got for Christmas a few years ago because I wanted to talk to somebody on Skype, and ended up not even using it. And I'm glad I'm getting used for it now. It's just about 3 or 4 years in the making, but it was good to hang on to it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of feedback I get like that, like just I do those F sounds and it just goes and whatnot, and I feel really bad that I leave those in because I have not figured out how to like really edit my audio much in Audacity, even though I'm 20 some videos in for Mystic Quest. I think it was 22 was my last one, and like 10 episodes into my next series that I don't want to name yet. Yeah, I've been busy on that over the last couple weeks or so. So that's a big issue that I need to correct. Either get a different headset mic that has a pop filter, or at least a little fuzzy cover for this thing. I don't know if that'll make a difference or not, but when it's that close to your mouth, it might not matter. Every time you make an F sound or breathe a little too heavily, it just boom. But yeah, and, I'm learning that it's not a good idea to record a episode when you're tired. That seems like a no-brainer, but it's like I don't realize I'm that tired until after I've already begun. Episode 3 is, a bone to pick. I believe that's the title I gave it. That one turned out so horrible. At least I feel that way. Like it started off fine until after I beat the Flameless Rex and had to leave, then it just kind of went downhill. I cut out for that bit, and I was quiet for a while, and it just kind of hit me that, the high, the moment passed, and I was just kind of all of a sudden I was weary. It was a really bad day for me in general. I don't really want to get into that, but I thought maybe I could unwind by doing a LP session. I thought maybe that would make me feel better, but I ended up just feeling a little worse just because of how bad it is. Ended up, I cut out that battlefield and then stuck in that tiny little part at the end where I'm just like, oh, that wasn't even worth doing. And when I said that, I meant it wasn't worth, you know, cutting it out in that way. I should have just ended the video there and did the battlefield off screen and then just started at the focus tower, in the next episode, which I did anyway, but I should have just ended it with cutting out the battlefield instead of or something like that. Yeah, it's one of those things. You learn from experience and you make mistakes and then you grow, you change, you just better yourself. Yeah, it's this whole thing. That's why I picked Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Really, it's an RPG designed to get people that aren't familiar with RPGs to give them a try. I don't think it would work in today's time unless you're gamer, unless you're like introducing it to like an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old or something. But most people I talk to, they don't think very highly of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, or it's very divisive. Like some people are like, oh hey, that game was okay, or I mean they usually agree that at least the soundtrack was good, but everything else, I mean the story, you know it's it's very generic. You're just there's not much explanation for the things you do sometimes, and the dialogue is just, I'm trying to be a writer, so the dialogue in particular just hits me. I didn't remember just how bad some of that was. You have like nonsensical events practically happening. Just, you have, it's like, you find Kaylee in Aquaria, and it's like, Kaylee, you're well. It's like, hey, did you hear about my dad? Oh, yeah, Spencer told me. We're actually going to go to, you know, the Windia, and I was hoping you'd come. And then, boom, Kaylee joined. Yay! That sort of thing. It's just like 3 or 4 word boxes, and boom, you have a party member, and they didn't even agree to doing it. It's the same like when you first meet Phoebe, and you're just like, oh, hey, I'm coming with you. And then Phoebe joined. It's more like you joined Phoebe, without permission. Sorry if I just had to, my headset was slipping, so if you heard something there, that was me adjusting that. But yeah, it's, I enjoy the game. I had fun with it. I had fun making fun of it at times as well. I didn't play the game necessarily to riff on it, but since it was there and I was trying to find something interesting to say, I just ended up trying to crack jokes time and time again, and I feel like it worked out for the most part. Not my delivery was off a few times. That's another thing I need to practice on is my stream of consciousness, trying to make sure I stay on task or on track with what I'm saying without fumbling over my words quite so much. I was trying to, like, in the first, again, I keep going back to the first episode, but like it's like I was making that brony connection to the brownies in the level forest, and you got that they got that mohawk, and I was thinking that that kind of looks like like a pony's mane, but I just couldn't get my mind to, my mind was thinking that, but I couldn't get the words to form in my mouth while I was talking, so I'm just like, it's a pony thing, and I just kind of left it there and just hanging. It's one of those things. I never really had a chance to bring that joke back up. I didn't even think to do that for Doulahan. I instead did that four pony, battle cry thing from, I don't even remember where that was from. I want to say it was from a web comic. I can't remember what it was called. there was like this necromancer sorcerer guy, but then he was like he just kind of shouted at one time and it stuck. And it was in Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball Z Abridged one time. Nappa shouted that. That's what made me remember it. But that's what made me want to use that as a title and a reference for that episode. Some of these jokes are premeditated. I don't always remember to use them, but I try to think of at least some things in advance, just to, just so I have something in case I blank out. But yeah, it's just, like, it's been a real experience. That's like the word to use, I guess. There's a lot of good episodes. There were some crappy ones. There were times when I didn't realize just how deadpan and tired I sounded. I've had a couple of cases where my cat beat on the door while I was trying to record, and I had to make cuts at that point, especially toward the end. And it happens in the first episode of the next series that I'll be starting shortly after I upload this video, like a day or two after this goes up. Something like that. I haven't really thought that far ahead yet. At the rate I'm going with that, I'm just about finished with that LP actually, so I might just be able to relax for a little bit in that regard. Maybe work on some other things unrelated to Let's Playing. But yeah, just, my favorite episode, I'm not really sure which one I would say is my best. I really liked, I think it was episode 14, the one that was titled What Were You Thinking? Just because it had a lot of story things that were it was just boom, boom, boom. A lot was happening in just a little bit of time, and I had a lot of things to respond to, a lot of cues on the screen. We had Tristram joining the party because Ruben fell off the rope bridge. And I got to use the Apollo Justice Gotcha graphic. That was great. I always like looking for little excuses, just throw in tiny little tidbits like that. I haven't really done it very much, if at all, with my current LP, but next time I do an RPG, like a full out RPG, I'd like to do more things like that again. But yeah, Ruben getting beat up by a mummy and falling off the rope bridge, and then Tristram just showing up, like, hey, your buddy fell. Or asking, like, hey, did your buddy fall there, kid? You're like, yeah, but he's okay. It's like how nonchalantly you're just like, whatever. And that pretty much defines the hero in that game. Pretty much he just goes wherever the story takes him, and he's like, okay, I'll go this way. Save the world, okay, sure, I'm not doing anything else. My village got destroyed, remember? Nobody seems to point that out. He doesn't even mention it to the bad guy. It's like the Dark King's there, and like, you destroyed my village, or I'm assuming that's what he did anyway. He had to be behind it at the very least. Anyway, what was it? Oh yeah, I was talking about episode 14. You had Tristram, then the whole thing where he suddenly knows that Kaylee can talk to trees, so you have to go back to Aquaria where Kaylee should be at that point, and then you go see Spencer, and Tristram just up and leaves you, just to go treasure hunting with him. Then Phoebe shows up and puts a bomb in Spencer's place, and so on and so forth, and it's just, there's a lot of interesting things going on. I think it was the first episode where all 4 playable characters were featured at some point in the game, too. In just this short little space of time. The worst episode, yeah, would probably be the episode 3. There's a reason it's also the shortest. It's because I was just so sick and tired of doing things at that moment. It was just like, I've got to stop. I can't continue this right now. I'm tired. I'm worn out, and this isn't working out for me. But yeah, it's just that was definitely the worst one. There's a couple other ones that was, it's like in Captain Mac's ship, I was really embarrassed that I had totally forgotten just how straightforward and simple that place is. You just defeat that Thanatos and move that barrel, then climb up the mast, and and that's like it. I'm going below deck. I'm wandering around, falling through holes that I didn't need to fall through, and it's just, and I take the long way around, even though I could have just gone back up that way. I think I can't remember if it goes both ways or not, but it's just that one was embarrassing, and ending the Dragon Claw Z episode without actually being at the final position for fighting Pazuzu. That was pretty bad too. Just I mean, it wasn't a serious thing because I'd been, like I'd said at the video, I'd been recording for over an hour at that point, and recording with the emulator, you have to let it you have to replay the recording and then set it to AVI recording while the video of you playing is playing. Playception, I guess, but you just do that, and you have to sit and you have to wait for it to go through everything, and it's just piling up all these AVI files into your video folder, and it takes up a lot of space on your computers. I mean, I'm glad I have a terabyte external hard drive to save this stuff to when I'm not using it anymore. 'Cause, some of it I'd like to, just in case I ever have to re-upload anything. I've got all the videos from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest all saved up there, and most of the videos for my next series and my Battletoad stuff is up there too. But yeah, just it's been a good experience doing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest this way. I mean, I'm glad I tried something new. I was in a pretty big rut at the time, so it's a nice change of pace, and it's a new hobby of mine now. I've got other games I want to do. I'd plans for the future, and if I update, when I do get a Dazzle and I confirm whether or not my laptop can handle it, I've got quite a few other games I'd like to do. I want to get into more, I want to do games that people don't do so often, or haven't done at all, possibly. I've got some niche RPGs that some people probably never even heard of, that I just want to get out there, because they're good. They're either good or they're great, and they're just overlooked. But anyway, my favorite character? That's actually a tough one. A lot of characters don't really have that much depth to them in this game. Uh, I guess I could just default and say the hero Phoenix, or Benjamin as he's called in the canon of the series, but that doesn't really seem very fair. But since I brought that up, I should mention that Benjamin was actually loosely referenced to in the Dissidia games for the PSP. Yeah, one of the Mognet Moogles was named Benjamin. It was like a slight little nod from Square Enix. Their way of saying, yeah, that game, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, that game there. Yeah, we kind of did that. That was a little nice touch from them, but I'd have to say I'm torn between either Phoebe or Kaylee as my personal favorites. I like them both in their own ways. Kaylee seemed a little closer to being a love interest to the hero than Phoebe, but just marginally so. I think it was just because she was being more girly-like in appearance and, the way she acts, and especially in the end when she's the one that's basically saying, we'll miss you and all that stuff. But Phoebe was the more of like a warrior black mage kind of girl, and she was there for you in the final battle against the Dark King. So and I want to say she was your party member for the longest, but I'm really not entirely sure, because Kaylee had a long stretch there after you get to the Alive Forest, so it's kind of a tough call. Tristram, he was a little too much of a jerk for my taste, but at least he had some personality. And my least favorite of the playable characters is Reuben, what with his lack of resistances except for fire, and that only kicked in until you got to the volcano. Fighting Jin, he didn't have any resistance to flame, which was disappointing to say the least. The NPCs though, I kind of like my interpretation of Arian, or at least I didn't really articulate it well enough in the videos, but I just got this mental image of Arian just going to the mines just to get away from the family with his buddy and the that teaches you mega grenades. What kind of guy does that? I always pictured Arian just wanting to get drunk with his buddy out in the mines, and they live right next to the bar, but that's too close to home. His wife could just drag him home anytime, so and that'd be a good reason. It's like, oh hey, I can't get home because there's this giant boulder right here. It's blocking my way, and you can clearly tell when you get there that it's not, but you're supposed to get it out of the way anyway to progress. Yeah, Dr. Otto, he was mildly interesting, if only because he looked just like Dr. Wily. That made him just, in his obsession with rainbows. He's like Dr. Wily's more flamboyant twin brother or something like that. I don't know. You know, Dr. Wily from the most colorful timeline. Favorite villains? Well, like out of the Vile Four, I'd say Pazuzu was the most villainous of the group. I mean, he seemed to be doing more than just draining the crystal's power. He took over a tower. He dressed himself up like a king. He seemed to be enjoying his position. The other, the Flamer's Rex and the Dual Head Hydra you only found just at the end of their respective dungeons, and they're just like, "Rawr, I've got the crystal of error for this is the end of the line for you. I have the crystal of fire," that sort of thing. And the Ice Golem, well, I got the impression that he was just flat out bored, and I guess Pazuzu was too, because he just had to kind of troll you there a little bit. You think you're at the boss fight already, and it's like, I'm enjoying this game, and then he just teleports away because apparently the bad guys can do that in this game. I like Doulahan over at Mount Gale. Just he only had 2 lines of dialogue, and the first one was, "Nah, it's Pazuzu," and just somehow the way he says that, and it's like he just flat out denies that your claim that he was the one draining the Crystal of Wind's power, and it's like, nah, it's not me. Even though defeating him is what makes the wind stop, so you can actually get to Pazuzu, so that's kind of like a paradoxical plot hole kind of thing. Unless, they could have covered that with like a single line of dialogue of, like, even with the power Lord Pazuzu gave me, I still can't do this, or something like that. It was so many things that could have been cleaned up with just one more text box, but it didn't happen. My favorite piece of music in the game, that one's a tough one because the whole soundtrack is pretty awesome. I've said it so many times, but it's the best thing this game has going for it. Absolutely. I really like a lot of the dungeon themes are great. I particularly like the Whirlwind Mountain ones. I don't remember the specific names, but there's the Waterfall one and the Whirlwind one. Those ones are my favorites, I think. Lava Dome is good too, but they're basically all the same source theme, just different variations of it, so it's kind of comparing apples and oranges, or apples to other apples, I should say. The same goes with the town themes, which were also good. I kind of like, Fireburg was pretty upbeat. That was pretty nice. But let's see, what other themes are there? The battle themes are all good. I can't even pick a favorite. Even the normal battle theme remained good throughout the entire game, and that's very rare for RPGs. I mean, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest has the advantage of not being that long of a game, so that helps. What else is there? I don't really have a least favorite track. They're just, they're all good in their own ways. And then we have my Battlefield theme music that I inserted from various other games, either other Final Fantasies or other RPGs. I think my favorites for that were probably Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy V and the Persona 4 stuff that I put in there for the longest stretch in the Fireberg area. But yeah, it's all good stuff there. Yeah, I hope those of you that stuck through those parts and didn't just skip over them, which I don't blame you personally. I probably could have tripled the speed instead, just doubled it to make them go faster, but I wouldn't have been able to squeeze so many good themes otherwise. You know, but yeah, just I hope you guys enjoyed the music picks I took, and anybody that listens to it in the future, because I know at this point only like a handful of people at best have watched the series from start to finish. But I hope you guys have, at least checked out the links I put in there for where you can buy most of those soundtracks if you're interested in them that much. And let's see, what else is there? Covered up the characters, I covered the music. The events of the story are unfolding on the screen as we speak. So I don't really need to summarize that anymore. I originally planned to, but it seemed redundant after I realized how I was doing the video. That would have just been a waste of time. But yeah, let's see. Covered the characters, the music, the villains. I didn't really care that much for the Dark King. Was just like one of those out of the blue. Okay, he's the source of all evil, guys. We gotta beat him now. Type characters. He didn't really have much presence to him. It's like you show up and he turns into like a spider, giant evil spider in space, or a dimensional rift or whatever that climatic galactic battlefield happened to be. And then his legs turn into octopus tentacles. So it's like he's like a uglier version of Ultros or something like that. I don't really care that much for the Dark King, but he's the final boss, and he was tough enough, even though you can beat him by just casting the cure spell on him like once per turn, not twice, because then you end up healing him. But apparently Phoebe's healing power is so through the roof at this point in the stage that if you cast it on him, it like breaks the healing limit or something, goes into damage, some technical stuff like that. It's a neat little touch there. Well, I guess at this point it's just, I guess I should start closing this up. It's been long enough, I think, at any rate. So I'd like to take this time to thank everybody that's watched this in its initial run, all 4 of you, or however many it is. I'm not entirely sure exactly how many people have been watching. I know the view count's pretty low at present, which I didn't expect better than that. I was actually surprised video 1 is at 50 at this point. That surprises me. But thank you guys for watching this. From those of you who stuck through it all the way, even despite all my technical limitations and my own personal limitations, I appreciate that greatly. Let's see, I want to thank anybody that watches this stuff in the future, of course. And I hope you guys follow what I do in the future with these LPs. My next series is actually finished now. I kind of split this audio up into 2 segments at this point, and it's been a few days since I recorded the first half, and now I can say that my next project is done and will be uploaded any day now after I upload this. I'll just say tomorrow. I'll upload it the next day after I upload this. I promise that. Okay, I'd like to thank Strawberry Cream for cream creme, I'm not exactly sure of the pronunciation, for giving me permission to use the Social Link Go soundbite in the episode 4 when I first met Phoebe. I meant to use that soundbite more often, but I either forgot during recording, or when at the times I did remember, it was like the party members that I just kind of I would have preferred to do the Social Link Go thing. It was just like Tristram or Ruben, and I just didn't end up using it again after the first time. But I still appreciate that, I got a very timely response to my message, and it was great. And for those of you who have played the Persona 4 games, you should check out the Hi, I'm Daisy Persona 4 comic dub on YouTube from the same channel I just mentioned, and I'll post another link in the comments here for that. It's good stuff. It's very funny. It's too bad it doesn't make it all the way to the end of the game, but they do some good work with that. Some very good voice acting in that. Let's see who else to thank. Well, I didn't really ask for permission to do that, but thank you to all to Nobuo Uematsu and the other composers of the music I used in my Battlefield Blitzes. I it's great stuff. Otherwise I wouldn't have picked it. The piano medley from Final Fantasy 1 through 3, and the battle, Clash on the Big Bridge. That's a good one of my personal favorites. The Extreme, you know, Shoji Meguro for the Persona 4 music, Fog and the Almighty. This is another awesome final battle music. Composers to Skies of Arcadia. I think that's everybody in that. So thank you for doing what you guys do, and for not, for letting us do what we do with your music, I guess is what I'm saying. Let's see, anything else? I keep having to adjust my headset, so if you're hearing that noise in the background, it's these things keep slipping. I don't know what's wrong with it. Well, yeah, I guess that's everything. So once more, thank you very much for watching. This has been Phoenix Down with Let's Reminisce about Let's Playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. The Remembering. I don't know if I'm going to add that part to the title or not, but it's been a nice little retrospective. I feel like I've given this little, this fledgling little LP series a proper send-off now. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy my next series. It won't be as long as this one. I know that for a fact. So I will see you guys then. Alright, take care, guys.